Hello there. If you've made it here, you know we're going to discuss the shit show, the garbage that is now Real Housewives of New York. And honestly, I'm kind of shocked by how things transpired in this episode. We were led to believe that there was going to be some sort of pregnancy announcement. Oddly enough, coincidentally enough, Erin Leachy announced her actual pregnancy the same date as this episode, where there was like a rumor. She said it has nothing to do with that. She's pregnant with her fourth child. Well, we can discuss that. But yeah. So we start with this tease. It's Erin, talking to, I believe, Bryn and Jessel.
Well, the tease was dodgeball.
Yes.
And
Aaron,
Bryn is telling all the women, I heard this crazy story. She's pregnant. She doesn't know who the guy is. And Bryn took a lot of liberties with this. Now, maybe there was some editing and we didn't see the full conversation that Erin had, but like Erin didn't say she got very graphic. Like she lets multiple guys come in her and she didn't even know who it was. Erin left it as she had a wild night and her husband is not the father. That's all Erin said. She didn't say it was an orgy, sex parties. I'm like, Bryn, where are you going with this?
She embellished hard based on what Erin just said. So that kind of continues. Everyone's just like spiraling over that. Before we get to it being released to the rest of the group, Erin and Rebecca have a sit down, and Erin's kind of poking a bit more about Scientology and how does that work with being Jewish. And Becky is trying to tell her that, SoulCycle is like a religion. Like, wait, what? She lost me.
Yeah, I think she's trying to say well, I look at one as like my approach to life and the other more as like a religion. So then Erin was like, oh, is Scientology not a religion? She's like, well, some people think of SoulCycle as a religion. I'm like, no, that's not at all. Like the way you're going about this you're not helping yourself. I do see Erin's point.
Yeah.
But so Scientology is a religion by definition. They believe that this L. Ron Hubbard guy was chosen by aliens, and that if you follow his teachings, when the end of the world happens or when you die, those who are on the highest tier of Scientology, I'm not making this up too. This is I know. Will be on a special rocket that will go to this place where all these aliens are, and they will be that's their afterlife. That's what happens. Judaism has a very different teaching. So it isn't just your approach to life. It'd be different if she said, I don't even know.
I always say I'm much more spiritual than religious. I'm opening to learning more religions. I mean, that's not quite the same comparison, but it's the way she's trying to do that. It's not working because they're both technically classified as religions.
Well, she was saying, when things are hard in life and I don't know what decision to make, I fall back on Scientology and those teachings. But then my religion and what I believe about God is Judaism.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It's not one is because she was trying to say one's a theology and one's a religion. She's losing all of us because they're both religions and they're so different.
They're very different. And I highly recommend, if you haven't gone down the Leah Remini Scientology rabbit hole, I've been down that journey. I believe there's Going Clear, the documentary. That's definitely worth watching. Also, there is Leah Remini Scientology. I don't know what that was called.
It's like a TV series so Going Clear is separate from Leah Remini's thing. She and then I forgot the guy's name, both left the church and they have their own, it was a series. I think it started as a docuseries and then became a true series where basically they were exploring families that were people who left the church and have not been able to speak to family members, have been completely secluded from their family, have been shunned, or mothers whose kids are in the church and now are in Scientology and now cannot even speak to or see their children. And then part of it too is trying to help with some of that reunification and so there's a little bit, but Going Clear is a really, really, really interesting documentary. And it came out a while ago. This isn't this wasn't
it's
even
not
like a COVID
new,
one.
and it's dark, and it makes you side eye Tom Cruise. It makes you side eye so many different things over this bananas. I'm sorry if you're Scientologist, but in my opinion, bananas organization that leaves me with more questions. But I digress. We at least get a Wicked endorsement collection from Becky. That to me was more interesting, her job versus, I mean, yes, we're going to question the Scientology component of it, but in terms of her as a housewife, she's done so little that I wish I was at least getting like the Wicked snippets, this collection or whatever, her job sooner than now. Like now it's 5 episodes too late for me.
I also realized the way she like responds to stuff, it's like all like her reaction to everything is always the same. Like when she's hearing like, well, Bren was being kind of shady about Nordstrom Rack, she like has this like weird smile where her like top lip doesn't move much, and she's like, like she always has this like weird smile as her response to everything. The only time we've seen her show emotion, and we'll talk about it, is at the end of this episode. That's the only time we've seen her really like do something besides this weird smile response to every single situation. I did like when she said, I built $100 million company, and if Bren doesn't like my like purses, then that's on her. I was like, yes, be more of this person. Like I did like that. The only thing about the lunch that I think we're going to see later is this where the prank was like thought up? Like when did they think about this prank?
I don't know. So I feel like the intent of the prank, and it shouldn't have been, the example they used was not correct. But I think the intent was to prove how Brynn embellishes stories. I think there's a million different things you could have said to do that without saying someone's pregnant and like potentially like got knocked up by another man. Like I think there's ways to prove that point without taking it that far.
I do think it was a little bit of a setup for Brent, 100%. Agreed. Like you could have said, she's getting a divorce, she's going bankrupt. Like there's a million other things. I don't know why you would go down the pregnancy, another man, maybe because it seems so ridiculous, but also because like Brent's so like obsessed with Becky not drinking. Yeah, I don't know, but I also am like, Erin is 37. I think Rebecca is like 41, 42. Like these are women who, by this age of your life, you have been around women who have experienced infertility or miscarriage. Like 1 in 3 do. So like, I'm sure they know more than 3 women. You should know by now, like that it's not funny. Every March 30th, March 31st, you'll see people post, just a reminder, a pregnancy April Fool's joke is hurtful and damaging to people going through fertility struggles, because it is like mocking like how easy it is for someone to get pregnant. It's mocking the whole thing that would be someone else is like dreaming of that. They know Jessel had a very hard time. They didn't maybe know her in the moment as she was going through IVF, but they know her struggle with that. Uba's freezing her eggs. I'm just so confused why like these 2 women thought that this was like the best test.
Yeah. And like a part of me was like, was Erin trying to get like, was production giving notes to Becky and being like, you're not really participating or part of storyline? And they're like, let's concoct this batshit crazy narrative to set up Brynn. It makes no sense. And also, Brynn, honey, you're not doing yourself any favors. The whole like basic bitch thing. So, telling Jessel like, well, Jenna does think you're kind of basic, but then low-key in your confessional admitting that you think she's basic too. Like, I would be livid. It's one thing to like be a messenger, which we've learned that Brynn loves to be a messenger, and her message isn't always clear or exactly how the conversation goes. But if you were acting like my friend to my face and then did that to be cute, like that would not sit well with me. I'd be like, then what else have you said? Other situations.
And Brynn's proud of it. She's like, I have carpal tunnel from stirring the pot. You're not stirring the pot. You're just making shit up, honestly. Jenna didn't say that she's like, Jessel is cute. She's not basic. And she was like, but don't you think basic is somebody who seeks attention? And isn't that kind of Jessel? And I think Jenna was like, I would have to think on that one and get back to you, but I'm not giving you the Jessel's basic. Like she flat out said that.
Yeah.
So like Jenna, like Jenna, but by no means, I think she was just kind of trying to end the conversations, but she like ended it by saying, by no means do I find Jessel to be basic. Brynn was the one kind of baiting her, trying to get her to admit it. She didn't fall for it. So then Brynn flips it around and is like, well, Jenna does think you're basic. That's not stirring the pot. This isn't creating like good drama or good storyline. You truly are just making stuff up. And I think, honestly, I'm looking forward to this reunion because I'm like, Brynn, you need to deal with this shit. Like, you're going to see these clips of you deliberately lying. And I'm kind of ready for you to have to face that music. I don't know what her big fight is with Uba, but at this point, I'm like, Team Uba. I don't really even care.
I mean, I'm sure it just comes down to the same stuff that we've heard over and over again. I feel, again, with Uba versus Brynn, which is so tiresome based on what we've seen already. But I feel like so much of Uba's anger and seeing how much Brynn has twisted the narrative, especially in this episode, has to do with exactly that. And no one else being able to like truly call it out on camera. So like, I don't know if there was like a powwow and they're like, let's concoct this story to set her up, which again is so stupid. But it's not really fun for us viewers for the drama to be centered around a lot of things that happened off camera, which the beginning of the season somewhat alluded to as well. And now we're playing catch up by getting it on camera. It's not working for me, babes. It's not.
Well, and then Andy during Watch What Happens Live says, I'm not a fan of pranks. Jeff Lewis says it's desperate. It reeks of trying to like self-edit a storyline. And, he had a lot to say about that. But I'm like, okay, so then why did production not only allow this to happen, air it, but they anchored this as part of the season trailer. Like this was a key part of it. So they really played into this.
Do you feel, because there's a lot of chatter online, a lot of people who weren't on board with new RHONY and are definitely not on board now, but do you feel like production is like self-sabotaging by including it?
You can't help but wonder that. Given Andy's very strong stance against this prank, he did not find it funny. He doesn't think it's entertaining. Like he was very quick to be like, I don't like it. So I don't know. You can't help but like wonder, like, was this like their way of being like, look, we've got nothing. We're going to do this to just like blow it up. So then like, it's so obvious no one will want it to come back. I'm not sure.
I'd like to think no in that situation because it doesn't, like they're trying to make money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So like in what scenario would that make sense? You know what I mean? Like
right.
You don't want to lose money. You want to be able to make money. You casted new people. So from that perspective, it doesn't track for me, but I believe Andy's an EP on the show. He would have been able to screen all the episodes. He knew this episode was coming. So, but his reaction still said a lot, even though he didn't know it was coming. So
you think maybe it's not, I'm just thinking as we go, it's not self-sabotaging this season, but certain cast members. And maybe it's, they want to make sure, like, I'm guessing these, like, if I'm in production, I'm pretty disappointed with Rebecca Minkoff. So it's like, yeah, you're done, girl. And maybe Erin, we don't know behind the scenes. Maybe she's very difficult and they don't like her. And it's like, okay, like this is a great, by allowing this to happen, anchoring the trailer on this, Andy taking a strong stance. Then if they're done, everybody like, well, yeah, like Andy hated that prank.
You know what's wild though, too, about the prank, or not even the prank, about the series is that individually, these women are very interesting. Like I find Jenna Lyons obviously very fascinating. Raquel has been like such a fascinating housewife. Mel is a star, as I say, every single episode, like a broken record. Uba's background, like I feel like they each, like I could see how on paper you feel like this should really work. And it's really disappointing to me that this prank is going to be the thing that really kills it. Because I was rooting for it. I think you and I both, we stood by the first season. As we got into this one, we're like, oh my God, there's some self-producing happening from people where it's like very, very obvious. But I didn't want this show to fail. If anything, unfortunately for them, it made me really miss the batshit crazy women of the OG ones who lived a bit more authentically. You didn't have to agree with everything they said or did, but it didn't feel like they were editing themselves on camera.
Old RHONY would never have to stoop to this level for ratings. I mean, I think that's just, it is what it is. Also, it's, I think, kind of annoying as up until that, we didn't really know what was going on with it was a prank until like obviously the very end. Although I had a feeling the way Rebecca Minkoff was like, I feel kind of like stomach flu. I'm like, oh, like this isn't
into it. It was like very strange once they got to the dodgeball of like everyone's like, what?
And if you, like you wouldn't show up, you wouldn't be playing dodgeball if you're pregnant. There was just so many things where I'm like, this isn't adding up. But up until that point, I was like, I said last episode, for the last couple, I've really loved the friendship of Abe and Mel. I feel like that could be such a fun dynamic layered in here that the two of them, and Mel even said it, like the two of them are a very unexpected pair. Like Abe can give a little bit of this finance bro like vibe. And then, I mean, in his confessional, when he was like, I've never, made out with a man, but I did think about it in college. I kind of questioned my sexuality a bit. And then what were Mel's exact words? Like lesbian
abilities.
Yeah. Like that was, I mean, hilarious. I love that Mel loves Abe and that like gay Abe, like that and he's really leaning into it and he's really loving it and he enjoys it too. Like I that could be such a fun dynamic. And I feel like no one's, if it's being talked about, it's going to be like in the shadow of this big prank.
Like that would be such an interesting thing to focus on, again, for all the points you reasoned, like how different they are. But like, again, New York as a city is a melting pot, different types of people, how they can connect over certain things. Like I would welcome don't take it so far as Jersey, but like a little outing with those two. Like if they played a prank on their women, like something really silly, like not like
I said throw Pavitt in and maybe Abe and Mel are like, hey, we want to go get, some banh mi. Tell us where we should go. Like, I feel like
there's like legs here.
Yes. But now this is all crushed. I will say too, my biggest takeaway from the prank, other than I think it's very insulting. I just like pregnancy pranks aren't funny. I think we all know that by now, but, it really also highlights what a shitty person Bren is because Jessel told her mom, which honestly, like
relatable.
Totally get relatable. In the moment, like, oh my God, I heard this. And her mom's like, you stay away from that drama. And she's like, I'm going to. And even Jessel was saying in her like interview and confessional, she was surprised that Brynn like is opening up and telling everyone this. And then all of the embellishments and like extra like details that are lies that she's adding in. Like to me, I'm like, Brynn, like you came in as somebody we all rooted for. We liked that you have made something of yourself and you are this cute, fun, flirty person, but you can also sometimes be vulnerable. Like there were so many parts of Brynn that make her such a great housewife. But now after this, it's like you, to me, aren't trustworthy. You're just like, that's like such a shitty thing to be spreading around people. If this were true, like how awful. Yeah, how terrible that Erin told them. She shouldn't have told them to begin with. But Brynn was so quick to tell the whole group.
To embellish and basically be like orgies and like it's really tarnishing someone's character so quickly. And the thing with Brynn, which again like makes me so bummed because I did genuinely like her. This happens every, you and I talk about the second season curse. I like really would want to know like what happened. Like it's not just like, I don't know. It's like you got in your head. I don't understand how we went from Thanksgiving and I resonated with Black women by going to the hair salon to now here. Like, and these are the same people, the same person, but it just feels like Mean Girl and you're like trying to set up Jessel. It's just not cute. What did you take? So if you guys know I'm a chump. I love Jeff Lewis. But he was on with Watch What Happens with Sai. What was your take on him saying like, Brynn, your flirtation is tired? And it's really inappropriate how you flirt with Jenna Lyons, knowing that she is engaged and has a partner.
I honestly don't disagree with it. I also I think Brynn thinks it's cute to kind of, it's not full on queer baiting because that would be like her implying like, I might be a lesbian. I might not.
She kind of does do that.
She does, but I would think like if it turns out like if this, we all know that like Kyle probably is like intimate with Morgan, but if that, let's just say like that was just for storyline, like that to me would be a little bit more queer baiting because like they really let on the public.
Really, yeah, sure.
But she is dancing into that category. And I don't know if she thinks it makes her like seem more like open-minded. I don't know. Like, I don't know what her intent is behind it, or she's just like, well, I'm a flirty person, so why would I like exclude women from it? But like, yeah, flirt with single women. It's kind of rude. I honestly, I don't always agree with Jeff's takes. I actually felt like on Watch What Happens Live, like everything he said, I was like, yeah, I kind of support it.
The only thing I didn't fully agree is he said New York is his favorite out of all the franchises, despite the prank. He enjoys that one the most. And I think as a fandom collectively, I feel like I've seen enough chatter online that I could say that's not everyone's take.
That's a good point. I kind of forgot he had said that.
But I do think for him, it has, which again, I think this is what RHONY is missing on, is this fabulous lives of these women and the jobs that they do. Like, you guys are so much more than making up this fucking prank. You own $100 million company and you're going to like let people think you're having orgies and
you got
whatever.
and then you're pregnant. Like, yeah, it's like, why?
That's funny. Like, what?
One thing I will say though, my other takeaway from this is if I had to pick anyone from this cast to be like my legitimate friend in real life, it's Jenna Lyons. I really respected that as everyone was like chattering and whispering about it, she kind of pulls Rebecca aside and is like, hey, I just want to let you know because I don't think it's cool. People are talking about you. And Rebecca's like, what are they saying? And Jenna's like, I don't want to say it, but I just want you to know, like, and then she immediately was like to Erin, like, did you tell her? And like, then they had their whole like setup and Erin's like, oh my God, that was so good. But good for Jenna to be like, hey, this is a damaging rumor. And if it's true, you should have time to get ahead of it, to figure out how you want to tell your own children, how you want to tell your husband. Like, that's the other thing for Bren. I'm thinking about, yes, okay, if it were true, Rebecca made these decisions and she has the consequences. But you talking about it on camera and putting all this out there, she has young children. What if that was true and like Rebecca hadn't even told her family? It had like, I don't know. I'm just like, there were so many layers to this that I'm guessing Bren didn't fully think about, but I really appreciated Jenna approaching Rebecca head on with it.
Yeah. I mean, she's been the victim of, rumors and scandal in her own life. Different scale to what this rumor was, but this fake news was, but she can definitely relate to it. So I want to ask you, Abby, what now? So do you feel after 5 episodes in, after this stupid prank, do you feel like this is the end of RHONY, like put it on pause, or do you not feel like we're quite there yet?
I don't know if they'll do a full-on pause, but I could see a big cast shakeup. I would not be surprised if Jessel, Sai, and Jenna are maybe the only ones still. And Uba, if Uba chooses to, but I could also see Uba being like, I'm in love. He doesn't want to be part of this. We might start like try to have a child. Like, I could see Uba leaving on her own. I would not be surprised though if there's only 3 remaining next season, like returning, I guess, and then we would be bringing in some new personalities. But I think Erin, Bren, Rebecca for sure are all done.
Yeah, I do wonder, and this is like Andy's baby. I mean, obviously RHONY has a special connection because it is his state where he lives. He's an EP. It's one of the beginning franchises. So I'm with you in the sense I don't foresee them like shutting the door. However, ratings do talk. I don't know what budgets are like. Like I have an inkling and a craving, and I know it may not make sense, but I do want one of the OG old school housewives to be even just making an appearance or something like that. I'm craving that. Actually, I'm going to put this out in the universe because I'm manifesting this right now. If we don't get that, I want a holiday special. Come on, Peacock. We're giving you lots of
Bluestone Manor.
Yes. A holiday.
I don't know if Dorinda's the one we want to bring back. If we're bringing any of them back, I think it's Lou.
Well, yes, I agree with that. But I'm just talking if that's not going to happen. I want a holiday special, Bluestone Manor. The girls are together. They're just shenanigans, the pajamas, like all the things we loved about that. I would be very entertained by that.
What girls?
You're grimacing.
Well, I mean, do we not remember Dorinda's just like heinous behavior on Ultimate Girls Trip? Like, I don't like what girls are we bringing in? She's just going to be awful and mean to everyone.
I mean, that's still better than this prank, Abby.
Still better. It's not giving me Christmas cheer. I think we just have to start fresh. I don't really want Dorinda coming back.
I would rather I think you and I are both in agreement. Lou should. If I'm going to bring an OG one, I think definitely Luann. No on Sonia. Sonia is unwell. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah. She's not in a good headspace for this right now.
She's not in a good headspace. There's a reason why Crappy Lake isn't back. Even though Dorinda can be very mean, I think she would run in circles on these girls, and that would be more entertaining. She would call out Brynn and what she's doing. And, sometimes you need to have a true New Yorker really put you in your place. And I'm there for that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we'll ever see that. I think the mix of like several OGs with the new women in a show, I would be surprised unless it's Luann. I think she is one they could bring in and could kind of be a little bit softer. Like Ramona coming in is terrible. Dorinda, I think, would just bulldoze it. But I will be curious to see what they do. I don't think RHONY reboot is dead completely, but I do think it's going to be, it desperately needs a shakeup. Yes. And I mean, we're going to Miami next week. There's several RHONY cast members going.
Erin and Uba.
That's it. That's what odd to me that it's just those two. I get Jenna didn't have to go to BravoCon. like Jenna's not doing this shit. Brynn, I feel like, is on punishment right now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We'll definitely think of our tactful way of approaching this topic with Erin and just asking her about the prank. I would imagine that's going to be discussed or head on, we're not going to be the first to ask her.
Oh yeah. I think I'm hoping that whoever does the panel that Erin and Uba are on, that it comes up. What did you think though of Rebecca Minkoff's husband leaning into it? Posted a picture of the two of them with Adele's Rumor Has It playing and said, like, if you know, you know.
Weird. I'm like, what in the like out of this world, like rich people shit that you're so disconnected that you think this is like fun? Like weird. I think that's weird.
I want to know why Rebecca agreed to do this in the first place.
Because she's out of touch with reality. I mean, look.
No, but like she doesn't need the money. Like, did she think like, oh, people are going to find me interesting?
That's what I mean. I think she's out of touch with reality and what normal, regular old people think and live through and think, ha, 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 this is just like good old fun.
She's and really never seen the show.
Well, I mean, I don't know that it would have helped her.
I think if she watched some like real RHONY, even last season RHONY, it would have maybe helped her a little bit. I want to know too, like why Brynn felt like she needed to be such a like producer of this season. Like it is weird. It's
very strange. I don't understand that. I would really love, and producers, if any of you are listening, like I would love a producer's take on this season. We're trying to get Kristen Takeman on the show. Like she would be really interesting to get that point of view and ask these questions. So maybe we'll try to get that set up just to kind of dig more into the why. Why are we here so soon? Like on season 2 of this, like why are we so quickly here?
Well, in episode 5, like I'm like, so far, all they've given us is pigeons and pranks. And I didn't mind the first prank, but I didn't, it was funny, like whatever. It was like harmless. Like, I don't know why then we're like continuing and leaning into more pranks.
Yeah. Yeah. We went from Cheesegate to now inappropriate pranks.
And I feel like too, like this episode, I'm like, other than Gabe and Mel, Brynn lying, like in the rumor, that's all we have.
That is all we have. We have artwork for Oliver. If you want to throw that in there. I mean, sorry, darling, no one cares. If you're not going to show the man, we don't care. At least this is another thing. I feel like I'm on like activated now talking about this, but it's like, honey, if you're going to talk about like furnishing your boyfriend's apartment, why can't he at least film with you shopping? Like he doesn't have to. We've seen husbands engage or boyfriends engage like here or there. Like that irks me so much. And Jenna, you too.
I mean, no notes. I agree. At least we have Salt Lake City, and we know that is going to keep us fed, and we will be recapping that in our next episode.
Yes, we will discuss that. Well, guys, I know I made a really, really lofty goal. I'm not sure that we're going to hit 1,500, but I'm going to keep my Delulu spirit alive and hope that we can get there. We actually made it to 1,200. Wait, it says 1,200. That's not true. Actually, we're not quite at 1,200, but we're getting really close. So, maybe I'm going to edit. No, I'm going to still shoot for the stars. Let's try to get as close to 1,500. If not, I definitely want to meet that goal by January. And with that, make it a great day. Don't do crazy ass pranks. We will come find you. I know you are our people and you will not do that. RHONY women, do better. Okay. Have a good one, guys.